And Courtney's excellent at optimizing her time. Like if
I
she
try.
has 3 minutes, like
Yes.
she will get something checked off of her list. So she's like, every minute is useful.
And it's almost like a game to me.
Right.
Like if you come to my office and I'm sitting in between client sessions or I have a break, you know, I might say, what do you think I can get done in 15 minutes? And I say this to my office staff and they're like, oh, blah, blah. So it's like a competition with myself. But I'm a really big person of, I know that life, I don't always have the luxury of having, you know, a few extra hours in my day. So, but I've learned that it doesn't take that long to do some of the things that we have on our list, you know.
Welcome to Reframe and Reclaim. We are Courtney Huckabee, a psychotherapist,
and Jen Harris, an interior designer
who have teamed up to reflect,
challenge,
and reframe your mindset in relationship with your personal belongings.
Join us as we discuss and declutter all of the stuff that keeps us stuck.
Learn to intentionally create environments with improved function and design that cultivate peace of mind. Find the reframe.
Start your reclaim.
Thanks again for joining in for another episode of Reframe and Reclaim. I'm Jen Harris.
And I'm Courtney Huckabee.
And today we are discussing the nonstop, never-ending system of maintain. So in a previous podcast, we have discussed from the 7 steps aspect how you maintain and create systems once you have reframed and reclaimed your space, right? But as far as like those daily maintenance and daily routines, that's where we're going to really focus today and kind of tackle some of those challenging areas that we all have in our home.
We all have. Yes.
Yes. So one thing that was really eye-opening for me, I was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast recently, and she had on guest Casey Davis, and she had said, and this really resonated with me, how chores are a cycle, right? And so it's not a done or not done. You're never going to be done with laundry. It's just a different stages of the cycle, whether it's clean or it's clean or dirty. It can be related to groceries, it can be related to dirty dishes. And one of the key things is, my job as like the head of this chore or this task is not to have this complete or to not have clean clothes have enough clean clothes to wear, but not every single item of clothes has to be clean and done at the same time, right? Even all these systems won't be complete at the same time because there's never a done, not done. It's always this living cycle. So in the spirit of that, as far as maintenance goes and, how to keep those systems flowing, I know, Courtney, you have several systems and routines in place. So can you walk us through like your garage? I know you recently have
reframed and reclaimed.
Yes, and now have a system for that.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Yes. So we have an amazing garage that my husband loves. He spends a lot of time in the garage. I don't know if you have other partners who love the garage time, but he realized he needed more space to be able to utilize it, to build things, to tinker around, to organize his things. And so we really got down to not just organizing like his tools, but organizing how we have things stored, organizing how we have things set up. And so we did some reframing, reclaiming about a month ago, maybe even a little bit longer. And we really just reallocated, instead of things being stored just randomly, we have like a section of Christmas is here and toys that, we need to like decide if we're going to put them back in the house or not, go here. We also have like a storage area for dry goods. So like for food, for extra trash bag, like when I say food, like storage bin, like canned food, extra bottles of water, those kinds of things that are non-perishables out there. And we can kind of go shopping and put things there and put them in our fridge outside in the garage, or bring them from there and put them in our pantry. But it's been really great because our system has really changed to, we have a spot for my car to park, which is really great. So nothing goes in this area, but we do have to make sure that the recycling, which is very close to my car and in a storage kind of shelf, gets taken out and put in the recycling bins, not just kind of out in the garage. So if I see the inside kitchen recycling is full, I fill it up from this side to this side, and when I know I get to this side, then I tell my husband, hey, we need extra storage space, and so he finds another space to put the recycling. But we start with one at a time there, and it's kind of like,
I like
okay,
it.
first bin is filled, second bin is filled, third bin is filled, fourth bin is filled, husband. So it's kind of fun. But it's really helped us that, that is the space for this. There's a space for that. And so we're not just randomly shoving things in the garage if we run out of space.
So you've created physical boundaries inside to put things,
Yes.
physical boundary out in the garage, and another place to move it. And I like too how you said, because Courtney also, we reframed and reclaimed her garage. Is that like 2 years ago now?
Oh, yes.
It was a while ago. And so the objective of that was to really clear out a lot of the things she wasn't using. And, we talk about in the book and things, like for me, especially going in rounds to see what I have and then readdressing it has really helped me be able to purge more because I understand what I'm really using.
Right.
So we did that first round of purging and now you've come back. And I like how you've really looked at the segments and the categories. And it's like, this space is devoted to this. I know I need to allocate this much. This is how much I need for perishable or non-perishable foods, and being able to really make your garage work for you.
Yeah.
And not just feel overwhelmed in it. Because you used to not be able to park your car in your
No
garage.
cars could park in the garage before, and now there's plenty of space for my car and almost enough space for another car. And that's where we've come. I think it's another thing is like I like to buy things and decide what am I going to do with it, and if I need it for my office, because it's kind of our temporary storage for my office too. If like we're changing things up in our office or I need something new, I put it there. But also when my son has outgrown something, instead of us just taking it to some place or giving it to someone, we kind of store it there until a time to be picked up or a time to deliver it. And so now we have gifted or donated a lot of my son's younger things that he's like his toys and his baby stuff that he is no longer going to use, which has cleared up a lot of space. But we have taken okay, we don't need this much Christmas stuff. We've actually condensed the Christmas bins down as well. So in the past couple years, we've kind of just changed how we store things, what we really, really need, what we really, really want. And so it is a little bit more organized, and we have everything labeled very gorgeously with painter's tape. It's very simple. That way we can just rip it off and put a new thing up if we change that bin, which we did this last time. We probably emptied about 10 or 12 different big plastic container bins that we're no longer using because we have less toys, we have less Christmas items, and we have more space now.
So what did you end up doing with those bins that are empty now?
So my husband has put them in his workspace because now he's organizing all of his workspace. So he can put painting supplies in one bin. He can put sanding supplies in another bin. He can put...
Were they previously just on an open shelf?
They were just there. We have those, industrial shelves. So you just put them in an area. But now he's learning that this actually works for Christmas. This works really great for donation. This works really great for seasonal. And so he's doing that in his own workspace as well.
And I have found having a section for donation was hugely beneficial for me because that way I have a place to automatically put something I know that's going out. And another tip, that really helped me is I used to have a large area allocated to it. But now that I've gotten rid of a lot of the bigger items that I know I'm not having, I have downsized it. And so that way I have a smaller box. So because I used to, have a big box, I put a couple things in. And then I'd be like, oh, I'll wait till it's full before I actually take it to the donation center. And then it sits there for 6 months, half full. And there's other space that could be used for something else. So I downsized to half the size box, just a small storage bin. And that's been really helpful for getting things out more quickly.
And it's not so cumbersome to take that huge thing. You need 2 people and 2 people to unload it. So you may be taking more frequent trips, but you're keeping that space empty, which is great.
So that's a system you've done. What about a routine? I know you're big into routines at night.
I will say I have to have routines because for me, things can so easily become chaotic. And so one of the routines that it's been really, really helpful for our home. I have a boy and he is 4 and he does not love getting up in the morning and waking up and getting going. So we actually have a routine where he is picking out his clothes the night before. He chooses his outfit. If it matches or doesn't match, it doesn't matter to me as long as he's wearing appropriate clothing for the weather and playtime. So he puts his clothes on, or takes his clothes out of the closet. He can reach it himself. So we have the hanging rods that come down lower for him. And so all of his clothes are in reachable space. So he picks out his shorts, he picks out his shirt, he picks out his socks out of his drawer and the shoes he wants, and he puts them on in his room. And then that way in the morning, whenever, he's a little tired, he's, not quite fully alert, he doesn't want to get going and, in the car, it takes a lot less time of now pick something out. And that helps me in the morning. And he's already chosen it himself instead of I've picked this out for you. And then we have a tantrum over the 4 other outfits he'd rather wear.
Right. I know. I'd feel the same way if someone else picked out my outfit too.
Right.
So I guess.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a similar thing in my house, except for we've just skipped the pajamas and they just wear their clothes to bed now because they don't want to waste. They don't want to waste time. They'd rather sleep a little bit longer. But that's a really good routine, especially starting your son young to get in the habit of that. I know you and your husband also balance, like while he's in the bathtub, you're busy trying to do the other chores around the house. So that way, whenever he's out of the tub, you can still have family time. Yeah. You kind of tackle that together.
And so, I'll usually pick up my kid from his childcare, and my husband will come home a little bit later than I do. So I have more time with my son. So we usually do bath time with dad. That's a fun time. That's their one-on-one time every evening. So while they're in the bath and picking out clothes, I'm cleaning up the kitchen, wiping down counters. If things are already picked up in the playroom or the living room and I have an extra 5 minutes, I may run the vacuum in one of those rooms. And that's another thing. We have 2 dogs, we have 2 boys, my husband and my son, and me, all living in a space. And, there's so much going on with all of our activities, work, life. We want to have fun together. So if I have an extra 5 minutes, I'll run the vacuum in the living room, or I'll sweep up the kitchen. And so it's like one small space, but it's kind of done.
And Courtney's excellent at optimizing her time. Like if she has 3 minutes, like she will get something checked off of her list. So she's like, every minute is useful.
And it's almost like a game to me. Right. Like if you come to my office and I'm sitting in between client sessions or I have a break, I might say, what do you think I can get done in 15 minutes? And I say this to my office staff and they're like, oh, blah, blah. So it's like a competition with myself. But I'm a really big person of, I know that life, I don't always have the luxury of having, a few extra hours in my day. So, but I've learned that it doesn't take that long to do some of the things that we have on our list, I can unload the dishwasher in 4.5 minutes. It doesn't take that long. I can start a load of laundry in 3.2 minutes. And that may not be exact science, but it really
we'll time you next time and see.
I'll do a stopwatch. I'll bring it up. But sometimes just the starting of that, and it feels like I get my little dopamine kick. And I'm like, I got one more thing done, or, I don't have to think about that. That's my brain. My brain is all the things that I have to do, and my brain can't really rest or relax until I know some of those things are done. So that helps me rest a lot more if I can sweep the kitchen real quick, or put the dishes in the dishwasher, or start a load of laundry before I leave for work.
Well, and I think that plays into, one of the key elements in our book is like starting small.
Right.
If you say, I have to do the dishes and I got to clean the countertops and put away the food and sweep and vacuum and pick up the toys, like it just gets overwhelming and your brain shuts down. But being able to say, you know what, I've got 5 minutes, I'm going to knock this one thing off and then it's done is really helpful to that daily routine, right?
Yeah. And for my son too, we may have I try my very best, before we get to the next thing, we're going to clean up your toys if we're playing in his playroom. I'll help you clean, and we make it a little fun competition. Who can clean up the most things, or how quickly can we clean up together? And we did it. High five. And that is actually really great because he's learning to kind of pick up after himself, that life skill of, you make a mess, you clean it up. I have to be responsible for my things.
Yes.
But I'm there with him, doing it with him too. So I'm his teamer. I'm his helper. He calls me his teamer. I'm his teamer, his helper. And then I get to help him. And so he feels really comfortable saying, well, Mom, can you clean up the dinosaurs? I'm going to clean up the airplanes. And so there's a lot of really great skill sets in that too.
Yes. Do you have any, because I know for me it's like my countertops, which I'll get to in a minute, but but do you have any specific areas of your home that seem to like consistently need maintenance?
Countertops.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Tables.
the countertops, it's just, kitchen is like the drop place. Like,
Yes.
it doesn't matter which countertop it is, it's flat and it's sometimes empty. And so if it's empty, it gets stuff. So the countertops, and then our laundry room where we come in, we have a little flat surface countertop. I know my husband drops stuff there. We have a shoe drop off. We have, the dog leashes, all kinds of things. So as you're coming in, we just start dropping things, and those areas get the most traffic.
Yes. Mine is also the countertops as well. Again, because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's right there when you walk in. You just, and then it all just explodes.
That's me.
Right?
I have so many things. I'm a one-trip pony, so I got to drop as I get into the house. Yeah.
So some things that have helped me try and keep the countertops clear. This is an ongoing, again, it's a cycle. It's not a done or not done with
Right.
the countertops for me in my home. Is mail was a big one that would just come in and get dropped. My kids' backpacks and, papers from school would just come after school and just get thrown everywhere, along with the snacks that they're having and, stuff prepped for dinner and
Lunchboxes.
my purse and, all the things. And so really getting a good drop zone and a good system in the drop zone, and having a place for them to put papers, having a place for me to put my mail, having a place to hang their backpacks and my purse, and really get those off the counter was extremely helpful to help in that system. And I'm kind of talking about it in the past tense because we're in transit right now with the move. So I'm excited to see what our next, drop zone is going to look like. So that'll be fun to build together and put together. But the other thing I would do is for the wipe downs and the cleaning is my 6-year-old is the perfect height to see. So we had very textured granite countertops, and you could not see crumbs, which is fantastic from one aspect because you can't see the mess. However, it's very hard to tell if it's actually clean. So his eye level was right at the countertop. So he was my little helper. And he'd walk around and be like, you missed a spot here, you missed a spot there, and like, because I can't see, I got to get really low. And he's just like, nope, there. And then, I'm like, here's a rag, you do it. And so, again, getting him involved, getting
Right.
others involved in the household.
And he's the expert at that because
He
he's
is.
just the right level.
Yes. And then one of the things, too, that's really cool, because he, sometimes feels, being the youngest, like he's the last to do things, and he's at the age where he wants to do more, like his big brother. And it's like, well, this is special just for you. So
Love
and
that.
if I use that technique with my husband, it's like, this chore is special just for you. It's called the trash.
Yeah, that's my husband's chore too. He gets to take all of the heavy trash and the stinky trash out to the curb and clean all of our space out. He loves it. Probably doesn't love it.
Yeah. It's another cycle that just has to
Yeah.
get done, right? So
But I love the idea of that cycle because, I actually have never thought in my mind, and maybe at one time I did, that all of it has to be done. I was like, you know what? The clothes got started. Oh, now the clothes are in the dryer or they're hanging up. Like, I'm always like, that's the next step. That's the next step. I never thought of it as done or not done.
there's always next steps.
But I think that, like, even with my home, like, because I've gotten to these little micro tasks, I'm like, the kitchen's done. The dining room's done. The living room. And so I think for me, I have always, not always, I'm going to take that away. And since I've been married, had this rotation going on. And so I felt like, it's like almost a checklist. Like, oh, that got checked and I'll get to the next thing later, which helps my brain not feel overwhelmed and in that decision fatigue or in that lack of motivation because there's too many things. Because I'm just going to get that one thing done. If I can start that, or if I can put that away, or if I can, finish that last step, then I'm like, we're done. So I think it's a really good shift to have. I don't think I'm perfect at that at all times, but it does help me not feel like everything has to be done or everything is bad or everything is wrong.
Yes, 100%. Because being a recovering perfectionist, like I feel that too, where it's like, if it's not all done, then it's not done, right? And so then I'm always like, well, why isn't this done? Why am I not working hard enough? Am I not using my time wise enough? Why is it I can't get everything done? And it's like, well, because it's not supposed to all be done. And I think sometimes we get stuck in this is how it looks perfectly, in this magazine picture, and sink's always empty and the countertop's clear and there's a space for everything. And, you know, but it's like, has someone lived in that room in the last 10 minutes? It's like, no, if you were to see the behind the scenes, you'd see all the stuff is pushed out.
Out of the scenes.
Yes, out of the frame. And so I think it's really understanding what is perceived, you know, like perceived perfection and what it should look like and what a lived in home and comfort looks and feels like, and giving yourself the opportunity to have those cycles and take that pressure off of yourself.
Yeah, because if I think of like a bathroom sink where it's just like the faucet and the soap, then I'm like, okay, well, where's my face moisturizer? Where are my contact lenses? Where are my glasses? Where's my hand towel? Where's my toothbrush? Where's my toothpaste? And it doesn't all have to be out on my counter, but having those not there doesn't allow me to function well in my bathroom. And so I think it's really important of what works for you, what feels good for you, but what helps your space function. You know, so having everything scattered and not, you know, able to be seen is not very functional, but even though that's sometimes what my bathroom counter looks like. But if I at least have everything I need within reach, it's going to be more functional for my nighttime routine, for my morning routine. But I'm also going to be able to say, you know, I might need to wipe this down, you know, after I brush my teeth, or I might need to, you know, put that away after, you know, I put my makeup on.
I think a great example of that for me is like in my kitchen, again, countertops. So it's like, you know, people don't want small appliances covering all the countertops. You know, we need the space to cook and prep. But there are certain things like my air fryer that I use almost every day takes up a large amount of space and does sit out on the countertop. But my toaster, which I do also use almost every day, is very lightweight. I take it out and put it back, you know, and I know some people have been like, well, you use it every day. Why don't you just leave it out? Isn't it more of a hassle to put it away and take it out? And for me, the amount of time it takes to pull it out and put it away is worth the payback of having the clear spot on the counter. And so it's really all self-reflection and what works for you and
Exactly.
and functions well. So
Exactly. And I use my air fryer not daily, but I would say at least a couple times a week.
Yeah.
And my routine is I take it down, and then when it cools off, I wipe down the inside, get all the crumbs out. I put it back in my, you know, pantry where it belongs. And then when the, you know, the shelves and different platforms are cleared off, then I just like stuff it in there. So for me, using it a couple times a week, it is better for me to have that up there. But, you know, I have, you know, my counter cleaner always on my counter. It's like a little glass bottle that I'm always using that there. I always have my paper towels out on my counter. I always have a little small cutting board out on my counter. So those things are things that I'm going to always have there when other people may say, I kind of put that away. That's great and wonderful, but for my home, for my mental health, for my functioning, for my systems, that's what works. Less of the comparison, more of what works for you and what feels right for you.
Another thing I do, like with my cycle and my system. So, you know, my husband really, like our new home has a very, very small laundry room. And he's like, we should expand it and make a bigger laundry room so that way you can have like an area to fold clothes. I have never folded clothes in the laundry room in my entire life. I don't pull clothes out and hang them. To me, that's just like a backbreaker. Like, I don't want to do that. So I make it more fun, and I take my laundry and I put a show on and I fold clothes. Well, I know, watch my 20-minute show or listen to my podcast, and I'm in the living room, right? And so then for my children's clothes, I will, you know, fold them and I put them on our buffet that's in the that's in the living room, right? So it's another flat space. I could walk it all the way back to their room and put it on their bed for them to put up later. But to me, I'm like, I don't want to walk that far. To me, I can put it on the space. It's going to be cleared by the end of the night, but that way it's there. When my kids get home from school, they automatically know this is a chore I have to do.
Yeah, they go right by there.
And they know to just take it. So I don't have to sit there and say, you know, put this up. And we also have a checklist before bedtime where it's, you know, they have to pick up all their toys or pick up their laundry. So they know that's before they can get their check off for bedtime, they have to get that cleared off. So that's also worked well.
And I love including other people in the systems. I think there's a lot of people who feel like, you know, I'm in charge of this home or this home is a reflection of me, and so I have to do it all. I think it's so great to ask for your partner, even your guests who sometimes come over, hey, the trash can's over there if you, need to throw things away. Or when you're done with your plate, put it in the sink. Like, it's okay to ask people to help with your system.
Yes.
And I love, especially when you're including your smaller kids and your teenagers, they're one day going to be doing this, hopefully in their own home,
Yes.
not in your home. And hopefully you're not doing this when they're 25 in your own home. But the more that you teach them these life skills, the more confident and capable they will be to have a functional living area, a living home, when they're adults. And so
Yes.
it's great to learn these skills.
And I think, I'm definitely one of those where I have trouble asking for help because I still am in that kind of generational mindset of like, I still feel like the home is a reflection of the woman, even though it's a shared space, it's a partnership. My mentality is if someone comes in from the outside, they're judging me on the appearance of the home, not my husband, nor my kids. It's like that falls on me. And that's a mental block I have to work through. But to me, like from a societal standpoint, that's where I feel. And so I know I tend to get more anxious and more overwhelmed with the space, and I want it to look a certain way, especially when people are coming over.
Sure.
My husband's like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, it's not. They're going to think I'm dirty, or whatever, messy, And so that's also another pressure I put on myself, where asking for help has been, and communicating has been really helpful. And again, going back to guests, usually guests want to know, they want to be able to help you and be less of a burden, right? And so it's like, if you tell them once, usually they're going to remember, oh, recycling's here, or this goes here. Like I have a friend who she washes everything by hand, and she's like, if you put a dirty dish in the sink, it's going to be like you're insulting me. She's like, I'd rather have it on the counter than in the
That's
sink.
my space to clean.
Right. Where I'm like, put it in the sink, not on the counter, so it's like just learning everybody's.
And if you're a guest and you want to be helpful to your host, and then let them know you appreciate them hosting you, say, hey, how can I, what should I do with this cup? What should I do with this plate? Just ask, and they may say, just leave it on the counter, no big deal. Or they may say, oh, the trash is over there, or oh, could you put that in the dishwasher? But everyone has a different system that helps.
Again, systems, routines, maintenance.
Yes.
So tell us about your hardest spot to maintain and what you've done to, try and facilitate the smoothness of that on a daily basis or weekly. If you have other tips, leave them below in our comment section, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.